Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today I'm really excited to take you through the update that came to ArcGIS Online, the Feb 2026 update. And I'm going to be specifically focusing on the Item Details Assistant. I believe this is one of the assistants that are going to be a game changer in working with AI in ArcGIS. Please keep watching till the end, as this is going to be one of the assistants that's going to be instrumental for any upcoming videos later in the future. Anytime we're going to work with agents and assistants that are going to explore data, bring back information from our data, having metadata is instrumental for these. And in order to create metadata, let's jump into the update. Let's go to my screen and learn how Item Details Assistant can help us with that workflow. As you can see, I'm in ArcGIS Online. I'm signed into one of my organizations and I'm interested in this notification and new features in ArcGIS Online. I'm going to click on this guy. It's going to open a new tab and I'm going to scroll down. I'm interested in the content management, so I can either click here or generally just scroll down there. And just for your information, I'll leave all the links that I'm going to show in this video down in the description. So in content management, I'm interested in this point, the Item Details Assistant. It's available to provide suggestions for item information and field information. And this is critical. Anytime we're going to work with further assistants as Data Explorer, as the ArcGIS Maps SDK AI components, they need metadata, and the metadata we're going to work with is going to be generated through Item Details Assistant. I'm going to open this page, go in there, and in this page, I can see a little bit of details. I'll invite you to go and read through this. I'll show more into the demo, but what I want to focus on is, as this is in beta now, it currently supports hosted feature layers, hosted feature layer views, hosted tables, and ArcGIS server feature layers. So if you're working ArcGIS Enterprise, this is really one of the first assistants that came to ArcGIS Enterprise. There's a little bit of information about getting started and whatnot. I again invite you to read through this, but for now I'm going to show you that in a demonstration. So hang on with me. I'm going to go back into my tab, navigate to ArcGIS Online, and I'm going to start with content. Today I'm going to be showing data from the Beirut Urban Lab. I'm going to show you how I got to this data. It shows up in my content, but I'm going to start really up there and just, it's a courtesy of the Beirut Urban Lab for some data about Beirut. I'm going to type Beirut Urban Lab and you can see it's up there. I'm going to click enter to search, and this is going to search through my organization. I don't own this data. Well, I do. I just published it pre to this video, but I'm going to show you how to find it out of ArcGIS Online. And you can see the Beirut built up environment database layer. If you go in here, click on it, you can view detail. And thankfully, the Beirut Urban Lab made this available for export. We're going to export this data as a file geodatabase. I've already done that to save us some time, so I'm going to navigate back to my content. You can see that that's the file geodatabase and I published it. I've already also added it to a folder just as a sneak peek in there. You might see I've got ArcGIS Maps SDK AI agent. This is my upcoming video. But I thought before showing this, I really need to start here because this is the essential layer I'm going to be using in the agent. And I need some metadata for the agent to learn about it. So I'm going to click on this layer. And as you can see, it's a very empty layer. No description, nothing out there. And I'd like to start with some information about this layer. So it's the Beirut built up environment database layers. There is multiple layers in here. You can see ground floor, landmarks, rooftop, etc. I'm going to go and click on this guy here, suggest. Now, this is the new beta assistant out there. It is an Item Details Assistant that will suggest information about the layer utilizing generative AI. So it's going to start with the title, summary, description, and tags. And this is very essential for, again, agents and assistants to learn more about this data and find it. I'm going to click on this. And it's gonna go through the workflow of looking into this information, looking into the data that is out there, and trying to formulate a bit of summary, a bit of description about all of this data and bring it back to us. I'm gonna fast forward through this video and then come back. Well, no need to do that. It's done. I've got Beirut urban environment layers, because we've seen multiple layers. A comprehensive Beirut urban environment layers developed by Beirut Urban Lab at AUB. I love that it mentioned who developed this data. It's their courtesy, covering buildings, landmarks, topography, demographic data, and green spaces. An overview of this with the feature layers that are out there. Ground floor use contains detailed information on the usage and characteristics of building ground floors throughout Beirut, including construction period, building status, and permit details. It also found some of the fields that are out there and started picking some information. Now, certainly you're more familiar with this data. You can trust this, but I wouldn't fully trust it. I'm gonna always go and double check the data, double check these, and make sure they're consistent. Now, for the sake of this demo, we're gonna keep going through this. You can see some information about all of this, and then a bit of the geographic coverage and some use cases and data sources. And I love that, again, it mentioned Beirut Urban Lab at the American University of Beirut. I'm gonna save this guy, and I can see that that information is up there in my description. Can always go and explore this data a bit more. So if I click on any of these layers, I can see ground floor use, for instance. Now, I also recommend, I'm not gonna do this in this video for each one of them, but I recommend that you pick each layer and click on that guy and suggest the information out there, because you also need the information, the metadata on each of these sub layers. Now, again, keep in mind, for the sake of this demo, I'm just gonna do this one and then we'll move forward. I also can go and read through this, and you see it's a little bit more detailed about the layer itself with some information about it. I'll save this guy, and there's 2 places already that I've managed the metadata on. One on the layer itself with all its sublayers, and one on a sublayer out of the all sublayers. There's still more to do. And maybe in the future, as this is also running and saving, I'd like to access this via code and do it automatically, automate the workflow, because that should also be possible. So if you'd like to see that, let me know and I'll dig a little bit deeper into that. Now this was saved successfully. You can see this. The next step I want to do in here, there's still one more detail, as I mentioned. Gonna go to data, and in data, I can see all the fields out there. And I'd like to also have some information about these fields. This is not good aliases for the data. I know serve stands most probably for survey underscore date. I can understand that, but I'd like to have these later on accessible for normal human language, just through normal NLP to get the information back. And what I'd like to do is showcase the latest capability in here. So I'm gonna go to fields in my data. I'm gonna click on selecting all and notice the suggest button. So if I unselect, it disappears. If I select, it appears. I'm gonna click on suggest, and this is the last level of needed metadata. I want to create display name, a description, and the type of value I'm dealing with, which again is very instrumental for further agents and assistants to go and explore this data. I'm gonna click suggest. And again, this is gonna do the same workflow, go through the exploration of these fields and bring back something. Now for the developers in the room, if you'd like, open the developer tools, go into the network and see what's going in there. As I mentioned, in the future, I might go into automating this, and this would be a good starting point to see which services are being requested and what's happening on the back end out there. I'm gonna close the DevTools for now. Again, this was just a small sneak peek, and wait for this to be done. And there we go. Again, AI generated content may be inaccurate. So at a further stage, as I work through this, I'm gonna go and double check all of these and make sure they're accurate. Note that object ID, it's a record ID, a unique identifier, it's a unique identifier down here. Cons period stands for construction period. The construction period or year the building was constructed, including possible annotations. Remember I highlighted survey date. It is survey date when the ground floor information was surveyed or collected. And it is a save a date and time. So I'm gonna do these, select them all and click save. Now remember, this is only on the ground floor layer. I would need to go back to in here and create it for all these layers down there. And I'll do that offline just not to bore you through this workflow. Now with that, I hope you saw how really ArcGIS is being enabled with AI and how AI is going to help us make sense of all of this data that we have. Creating metadata has always been a challenge, and this is really democratizing the creation of metadata for all of us. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments what you'd like to see more, if there's something that you'd like me to focus on when it comes to assistants, agents, and GeoAI, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I hope to see you soon, and bye for now.